Good day, children. Welcome to mathematics class for grade 6. This is Mrs. Janeth Elipitin, your math teacher. The title for today's lesson is Division of Decimals. Now, for the content standard, demonstrates understanding of the 4 fundamental operations involving fractions and decimals. For learning competencies, number 1, divide whole numbers by decimals up to 2 decimal places and vice versa. Number 2, divide decimals and mix decimals up to 2 decimal places. And for the code, MSNS-IF-113.3. After watching this video lesson, you will be able to identify the steps in dividing decimals by whole numbers and vice versa, and dividing decimals or mixed decimals up to 2 decimal places. Then, divide decimals by whole numbers and vice versa, and divide decimals or mixed decimals up to 2 decimal places. And appreciate the importance in dividing decimals. Before we proceed with the lesson, try to find the quotients of the following equation. Number 1, 48 divided by 6 equals, what is your answer? Answer is 8. For number 2, 35 divided by 5 equals, the answer is 7. For number 3, 90 divided by 30 equals, easy, it's 3. It is easy, isn't it? Since you already know how to divide whole numbers, let us try a new one. Who has a store? What are the goods repacked by battle? Why do you think they are doing it? Did you help your parents in repacking the goods? I have a friend. Her name is Stella. Stella has a problem. Stella has a sari-sari store. Every time she buys a cooking oil, she repacks it into smaller bottles. She has 3.5 liters of cooking oil and wants to pour it equally into 5 bottles. How much cooking oil will there be in each bottle? To solve the problem, divide 3.5 by 5. Here is the number sentence. 3.5 divided by 5 equals blank. The solution: dividing a decimal by a whole number is like dividing whole numbers. The important thing is to identify the position of the decimal point in your dividend. Okay, like this one. 3.5 divided by 5 equals 0.7. So 0.7 times 5 equals 3.5. So 3.5 minus 3.5 equals 0. So the answer is each bottle will contain 0.7 liters of cooking oil. Next, how to divide decimals by whole numbers. So here are some steps. To divide the decimal by a whole number, number 1, place the decimal point in the quotient directly above the decimal point in the dividend, like this one. Number 2, divide as in whole numbers. Example, 34.75 divided by 5. So 34.75 divided by 5 equals 6. 6 times 5 equals 30. So 34 minus 30 equals 4. Bring down 7. So 47 divided by 5 equals, since number 7 lie next to a decimal point, put the decimal point right above the decimal point of the dividend, then the answer. So 47 divided by 5 is 9. 9 times 5 is 45. So 47 minus 45 equals 2. Bring down 5. So 25 divided by 5 is 5. 5 times 5 equals 25. So 25 minus 25 equals 0. Next step is insert zeros to the dividend we needed. Next, how to divide a decimal by another decimals. Steps: to divide a decimal by another decimal, change the divisor to a whole number by moving the decimal point to the rightmost place. Example, divide 281.25 by 2.25. Here's the steps. So, move the decimal points of the dividend and the divisor 2 places to the right, like this one. Now, you can put the decimal point right here. So now, we can now divide the decimal numbers as whole numbers. So, start with 281 divided by 225. The answer is 1. So 1 times 225 equals 225. So 281 minus 225 equals 56. Bring down 2. So 562 divided by 225 equals 2. 2 times 225 equals 450. So 562 minus 450 equals 112. Since 112 cannot be divided by 225, bring down 5. So 1125 divided by 225 equals 5. So 5 times 225 equals 1125. Then 1125 minus 1125 equals 0. Check your work by multiplying the quotient by the divisor. The answer should be equal to the dividend. Okay, like this one. 25 times 125 is 28,125. So your answer is correct. How do you divide decimals by whole numbers? What are the steps in dividing decimal by another decimal? Dividing decimals in doing business is very important. I have an activity, a word problem. Jenny has a piece of ribbon that is 4.5 meters long. She wants to cut it into pieces that are 0.25 meters long. How many pieces of ribbon will she have? The answer is 18. So, let's divide to make sure that the answer is correct. 4.5 divided by 0.25. Move 2 decimal places to the right. Since we moved 2 decimal places in the divisor, we also do that in the dividend. Okay. Now, the dividend has 1 decimal place. What we are going to do is to add 0. Okay, so now we can divide 450 divided by 25. The decimal numbers become a whole numbers. So 450 divided by 25 is 1. 1 times 25 is 25. So 45 minus 25 equals, bring down 0, is 200. Then 200 divided by 25 is 8. 8 times 25 is 200. 200 minus 200 equals 0. Second activity, a 4-person relay team completed a race in 72.4 seconds. On the average, what was each runner's time? The answer is 18.1. Do we have the same answer? I know you get it right. Now that you learned the concepts of dividing decimals by whole numbers and dividing decimals by mixed decimals, now it's time to apply your knowledge. For the assessment, find the quotient of the following equation. For the second assessment, divide to find the quotient. For enrichment activity, answer the following problems from 1 to 4. That's all for today's lesson. Thank you for watching.